Hey there everyone, I'm meteorologist Cassie Nall, and this is your 10 weather impact recap for the week. Let's start with a look at some of the top weather stories from around the country. Beginning in Hawaii, Kilauea erupted again last Friday, just 10 days after the previous eruption. This episode lasted about 9 hours and featured a lava fountain from the north vent that reached about 650 feet tall. Recent episodes have been happening more frequently with lower volumes of lava compared to events from earlier this year. This was episode 47 of an eruption that began in December of 2024. And continuing with more volcano news, May 18th marked 46 years since Mount St. Helens in Washington state erupted, killing 57 people. The U.S. Geological Survey described the eruption as the mountain exploding sideways. Heat from that eruption melted the glaciers on top of the volcano, which combined with a massive landslide and hot gas to level millions of trees. The sky was darkened by ash. Nearby highways were closed and hundreds of airline flights were canceled. 2 years later, in 1982, Congress set aside more than 100,000 acres of land around the volcano for preservation. The official start to summer is still more than a month away, but the northwestern U.S. appears to be headed toward wildfire season with concerning conditions. Experts are warning that historically low snowpack in the mountains could fuel an active and potentially dangerous wildfire year. Leah Pizzetti shares the story from Washington state.
The seasons go hand in hand.
If we look at that broader historical record, one of the things that's really remarkable is the connection between the amount of snowpack, the amount and duration of snowpack in the winter, and then what that means for the subsequent fire year.
And this year, it's not looking good. University of Washington professor and forest and fire ecologist Brian Harvey says the April 1st snowpack survey revealed a 5th percentile reading, meaning 95% of normal years are better than this last season. And this warm spring is melting off the reserve of moisture. Right now, our percent of normal snowpack is in the teens for most.
One of the big reasons why snowpack is important relative to rain is because that water is stored and then is released throughout the spring and early part of the summer.
Meaning fires this summer could be bad.
This gives us the outlook for what May, June, July, and August are going to look like.
While fire potential is often worst at the very end of summer, Brian shows that the current early warm conditions coming off the bad winter mean by August, the entire Northwest will have high risk, something that could only worsen in the coming months.
To not get lulled into a sense of it's only going to be later in the summer, because these conditions can rapidly change with something like a heat wave that could dry things out really fast.
Meaning everyone needs to do their part to make sure fires don't start.
In California, tens of thousands of people were told to evacuate as fast-moving, wind-driven brush fires moved through Simi Valley. The Sandy fire started in Ventura County on Monday, and officials say the blaze grew rapidly in the hot and dry conditions. Several structures have burned, and hundreds of homes are at risk. More than 700 firefighters have been battling the blaze. Crews on the ground have been aided from the sky by fixed-wing aircraft tankers and multiple water-dropping helicopters, as well as planes that are spreading fire retardant.
I was working out of my office. I saw darkness, come out of my window. Something was blocking the sun. And I looked out the window and I saw the fire right here.
It's like so weird. You look there and it's blue. You look here and it's like total fire, It's pretty scary. I mean, we've lived here 24 years and nothing like this has ever happened.
It's men and women on the ground and from the air that are fighting this fire, but having the ability to drop up to 1,000 gallons of water per drop and a quick turnaround time from a lake nearby has been instrumental.
As of this recording, no injuries have been reported. Officials say the fire was sparked when a tractor hit a rock on Monday, with the dry and windy conditions helping the fire to spread quickly through the populated area. Also in California, this image shows a stranded sailor minutes before being rescued as a wildfire burns through a national park. According to CAL FIRE, as of Monday night, the blaze had scorched nearly 14,600 acres on Santa Rosa Island, part of the Channel Islands National Park off the coast of Southern California. The wildfire, which started May 15th, has destroyed at least 2 historic structures. The island is closed to the public while fire suppression continues. In Colorado, fire mitigation work is happening throughout the state, and that includes the work of inmates, part of a program through the Department of Corrections. Megan Glova joined them in Salida.
This is what we do. We're out here limbing, bucking, creating a fire break for this acreage right here.
For Alan Brazulis,
There's only 18 of us, so we live and work and we breathe this stuff.
work outside prison walls has been life-changing.
This is it. It doesn't get any bigger than what's behind me, right? It is saving the forest and communities. And it's given me purpose along the way, too.
Purpose for him and multiple other Arrowhead Correctional Center inmates. They're part of the state Wildland Inmate Fire Team, or SWIFT.
You know, the small towns, the small communities, we need as much help as we can because we're just not financially able to stand up large crews like this. And I think it really has been kind of a special relationship that we've had with these guys.
Most men who applied and were accepted to SWIFT are close to the end of their sentence.
Growing up, I always wanted to be a firefighter.
It's inspired and prepared Lawrence Bolton for a possible career after release.
You know, just looking forward to learning everything I can while I'm here and using it when I get out.
It's a win-win. Smaller Colorado counties get help like this: wildfire mitigation, suppression, and fuel reduction. Inmates get a day off their sentence for each day they work.
I'm a firefighter in his eyes, and that's the coolest thing for him, so.
And for Mike Reed, the work goes even deeper.
Another big thing for me is I have an 8-year-old boy who I'm a hero in his eyes right now, and to rebuild that relationship with him is key for me, so.
It's family that's motivating most of them.
It means a lot to me. I've been able to inspire I've got 2 sons, a 22 and a 14-year-old. The 22-year-old actually wants to try this now. So if I get nothing out of this, at least I got that.
I have 2 children as well, 2 young girls, and they think of the world of this too. It's so amazing to be able to call home and tell them about, like what I was out here doing.
Bettering themselves while bettering the land for all of us.
When you're at the top of one of these mountains and you look down and you can see these fire breaks and you see the community around you and the hard work that you put in, there's not a greater feeling in the world.
In Utah, farmers across the area are feeling the impact after a freeze caused crop losses. Warm conditions through the winter and early spring triggered fruit trees to bloom early. Then cold temperatures this month and even late season snow have caused widespread damage. Jeremy Toombs shows us how one grower is coping as the summer farmers market season approaches.
Farming tends to run in the family in southern Utah County.
And when I was growing up, most of these trees anyway were already here.
Kent Pine grew into life as a 4th-generation fruit farmer in Santaquin, having taken the torch from his dad about a decade ago.
I'd say he's semi-retired because he still comes down here most every day.
They've seen their ups and downs through the years, but you have to really go back.
My dad hasn't seen it since 1972.
To recall a season as harsh as this one.
Back-to-back nights of, 24, 25 degrees for several hours, and it wiped everything out.
Pine Farms was blanketed in snow and suffered a total crop failure.
Across the board with peaches, apples, and cherries for most growers. Usually the apples would be about as big as like a sweet cherry right now.
Instead, he's left with 35 acres of abundant leaves and wilted blooms. All of this lost crop comes at a serious cost for Pine. He says he normally sees more than $200,000 in total revenue on any given year. His story, sadly, isn't an uncommon one across the state.
We have been hearing from a lot of our fruit farmers, not of just some loss with the freeze, but total loss on tree fruit.
Carly Gillespie directs the nonprofit which oversees Salt Lake City's downtown farmers market, which is gearing up for its summer season to start on June 6th.
Something that the downtown farmers market really values is supporting local farmers. We do not allow reselling.
Those values won't change this year, and Gillespie says there will still be veggies and plentiful other products. It also won't necessarily mean that vendors like Pine Farms will go away.
I'm going to sell apple cider donuts, apple cider slushies.
But the absence of fresh fruit will serve as a reminder.
This is what farming is. This is why we have to support our local growers.
That any local purchases can go a long way for Pine and many others who face a long, lean year ahead.
Let them know that you appreciate them. Just help the farmers get through the year.
For the first time in decades, the footprint of Great Smoky Mountains National Park will expand. The nonprofit Foothills Land Conservancy is buying more than 600 acres of forest and wildlife habitat in Townsend. The land used to be owned by John Oliver, who built the oldest and first historic structure on the Cades Cove Loop. While Oliver and his family were the first permanent Euro-American settlers, the Cherokee people lived in the Smoky Mountains for thousands of years earlier. Officials at the nonprofit say this will preserve land tied to the region's early Appalachian settlement history and protect forest land, wildlife, and watershed resources.
This is an opportunity to truly protect a piece of Townsend, Blount County, the Great Smoky Mountains in a way that we may never have again.
Leaders at the organization say they have already secured a letter of intent with the national park and are set to close on the property next month. More than a year and a half after catastrophic flooding from Hurricane Helene, the final Tennessee State Bridge that was destroyed during the storm is back open. The State Route 353 bridge in Washington County reopened last week. This was the 49th and final TDOT managed bridge or roadway to reopen after being damaged in the storm. In western North Carolina, businesses are still finding their way back after the impacts from Helene. And one Chimney Rock staple has officially reopened their doors. Reporter Taylor Thompson shares with us the Gemstone Mine and spoke with the owner, who says that even after all the hardships, reopening was never a question.
All right, let's go gem mining.
With a passion for rocks and gems, Matt and Michelle Bands opened the Gemstone Mine back in 2005.
We thought, wouldn't this be a wonderful opportunity to put the rocks and gems that we always wanted to do into a brick and mortar site?
Hosting countless visitors.
We had lots of families come and visit constantly, coming back year after year.
People coming from out of state, even international.
Until everything changed in September 2024.
Trees in the middle of the road, and the road gorged out, you know, to where it was uncrossable, unwalkable. Feet of sand and mud and silt and rocks up on the road and down and through the gem mine.
I remember the first time coming to the building and seeing the building and peeking through the windows. And the floor is just gone.
It could have felt impossible to come back, but not for this family.
I think we both knew in our heart that we were going to bring it back as long as we could afford to do it.
It didn't happen quickly.
I never thought, you know, it would take a year and a half to get back on our feet.
No.
So.
But now their doors are open and ready.
Nice.
Filled with a new sense of gratitude.
People are good. They'll help. Our family is stronger after this. Yeah,
our family.
We put a lot of sweat and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this. It's beyond money and marketing and all those things. It's really tied into your emotions and the love for what we're doing and the love for our customers that we can't wait to see again.
As we move toward Memorial Day weekend and the unofficial start to summer, many of you may be planning to travel to the beach. In Brevard County, Florida, a new AI-powered system is being tested along the Space Coast that developers say could help save lives. Sanika Dange explains how it works.
On Melbourne Beach Friday, there's not a lot going on, just the thing people come for here. But the ocean isn't always this calm. Rip currents here can be deadly.
Kind of scary if you get stuck in one. Not a lot of people know what to do, especially if they're panicking.
Knowing what to do and where you are, critical in a rescue, experts say. Now a new technology is designed to help shorten response time. It's called Seahawk Swimmer Emergency System. Using cameras and GPS monitoring, it can alert rescuers if a life ring is removed from its station.
The camera is watching them, and the alert is issued to first responders.
William Sandberg created it.
When the life ring is lifted and they get a call, pops up, it's precisely, and they know right where that is, that's where they go right to the right place.
I think it's a great idea.
Melbourne Beach Fire Chief Gavin Brown says the system has worked in testing, but hasn't been used in a real emergency yet.
But there have been accounts of the life rings being used in rescues, just not that technology yet.
And while the new tech shows promise, experts say being aware of rip currents and how to swim out of one is most important.
Swimming in the ocean is not the same as swimming in the pool. It's a whole different dynamic, and so if you're not familiar with ocean swimming, you need to learn that before you go in, and when the conditions don't seem appropriate, don't go in. So when in doubt, don't go out.
A new tool to help prevent drownings before it's too late.
If you'll be heading out on the water in East Tennessee this weekend, heads up, lake levels across the area are lower than normal for this time of year. According to the Tennessee Valley Authority's website, Douglas Lake is currently about 15 feet lower than where they would typically like to have those water levels heading into Memorial Day weekend. This is a look at the operating guide for Douglas Lake. So that blue shaded area right there shows where they would typically like to have the water levels 80% of the time. And actually that gold line is the goal. Well, here's the actual lake level, and we're now outside of that range of where we would typically even like to be at all. And until we start to see more rain, we're not going to get to see those water levels start to rise. Now, because of the lower lake levels, officials say boaters should be aware of hazards that would typically be underwater.
It's going to look a lot different out there, so just be aware that there could be points that you're not used to. It could be underwater obstructions like stumps or rocks or other hazards that you're not familiar with out there when the lake is all the way full. So get a lake map, know how to use it.
The Wildlife Resources Agency also suggests talking with anglers on the lakes that you're planning on visiting, saying they are some of the best resources for information about problem areas on the water. And now let's get a check of your 7-day forecast. We finally have rain in the forecast. Now, timing-wise, it could have been better. We're going into Memorial Day weekend with those elevated rain chances, but this is exactly what we need to see, this type of pattern with regular daily rain chances to start to work on those drought conditions and start to allow those lake levels to rise. Now, the important thing to remember when you look at this forecast is that every single day is going to be different as far as the timing and the location for those rain chances, so just make sure you check back for updates. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can get the latest with your forecast and watch our 24/7 live radar anytime with the WBIR app. You can download the app for free and watch on your TV.